Okay, didn't want to wake the wife up.
I hear you.
So now the first question of the morning is decaf or high test?
High test.
Decaf.
Always high test.
Always high test. That's right. Actually, I've got my WVEAA cup, so I'll have to share that with people who haven't seen it yet. They're always full, never fuel.
I love it. That's cool. Hey, John.
And it has the WVEA stuff on the other side of it.
Nice.
So, is there a way to get this thing to just show the person?
On the computer, anyway, I know that there's controls at the top of the video window, and you can choose. It has like a grid, and it show grid video, and then there's also show active speaker video, and you can switch over between the two.
I also found it starts for me over here on the side, so I move it right underneath the camera, and then I usually just have active speaker. Once I see who's on, I don't need to necessarily see them unless they're speaking. So then I switch to the small active speaker video, and I have it right under the camera, so it looks like I'm looking at them.
Whoop. Yeah.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. Hey, Taylor.
Hey. Coming from Ripley, West Virginia here.
But we'll probably give everybody another minute or two. We'll probably do the roll call since we got a couple new folks on.
All right.
Taylor, is that beautiful downtown Ripley? Is that metropolitan area, or is that extent suburbs of Ripley?
I'm in the suburbs, or I'm right at a mile outside of Ripley. Yeah, which we don't have a real dense population of people.
I have friends that live in Marlinton, and they always joke about being in downtown Marlinton.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, we've got about probably 5 stoplights. It's not yet. Yeah.
Good morning.
Not much.
Hey, Marty.
They actually have a Chevy dealer in Marlinton, although he doesn't keep any bolts on the lot. Does have a charger, but it's not put on plug share. He keeps it private. So I think there's an awful lot of chargers out there at commercial establishments that are for their employees, or they're not for them, so they don't even put them on plug share. It's a little bit of a shame, because in a real emergency, that if you could plug in there for an hour, it could save your life. And yet, especially in a place as far out as Marlinton, but it's not listed.
Well, there's one in Lewisburg. So.
Larry's moving his camera around.
All right, I'm going to mute Larry while he's doing that. Well, I think, so we're about almost 5 after here. I wanted to give everybody a few minutes to join. We could probably go ahead and do a quick roll call, just so, since we got some new folks on. So I'll kick it off, and then we can just run down the list. I'll just call out everybody that's on my list, so we do it in order. All right, so I'm Robert Fournette. I'm the president of the WVEAA. This is our last Saturday of the month coffee and EVs, where we talk about anything, everything EVs and West Virginia and what's going on. So welcome to all the new folks. I'm in Martinsburg, West Virginia, formerly from the Charleston area, so familiar with that part of the state as well, but currently live in the Eastern Panhandle. And I drive a Model 3 and have solar on my home to power it and the home. All right, next up, we got John.
Okay, I'm John Averill. I'm in Sandstone, which is in between Beckley and Lewisburg. And I'm the proud new owner of a Chevy Bolt, thanks to input from Rick and getting able to ride in his vehicle. it arrived by Vroom last Friday. So my guarantee's up now. I've got to keep it, but it runs great. And it's 2017 Premiere.
And John is a videographer, and you're working on a video. Are you still working on that, John?
I'm still working on it. I got some great footage with Larry last week, and so I just need to get the energy to put things together. I have a lot of footage. I need to film. I'm thinking, if people ever get up to Hawk's Nest for a little reunion on a nice day, we could probably finish up what I need.
Okay, awesome.
I happened to be in Greenbrier County when I think the day he received it. So after he received it, we got together up there.
And Larry, you were next on the list anyway, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone else?
Okay, Larry here, us, Polka, and I drive Model 3, Tesla Model 3, and my daughter has the Volt. Everything in that I use is battery, I think, and I just had solar put on about a month ago.
And Larry's famous. He made the paper here recently. So if I think most of you folks probably saw the article that we sent around, linked to it, and then it was posted on the solar listserv as well and Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff.
All right, Marty.
I'm Marty Warwick. I'm the vice president, I guess, of the WVEAA, and I drive a 2018 Tesla Model 3. We also have a Chevy Volt of 2011. It was the first one registered in West Virginia. My son drives it nowadays. It's got 132,000 miles on it, and it may have lost a little range on the battery, but not much. It's still running well. When you don't have to change the oil or anything else very often, it's an economical car to operate.
Cool. And you're South Charleston for Marty.
I live in South Charleston, yes. And I do not have solar. However, we have plans in the works to build a new house in Fayette County that will be a passive solar house and an active solar house.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting for the Tesla stock to go up a little bit more.
Wait till the split.
That's today.
Yeah, that happened yesterday evening, I guess. All right, Rick, you're up.
Rick Walker, Huntington, West Virginia. I'm the janitor of the WVEAA. Been very busy lately with my mask, mopping the floors, but I drive a Bolt. Interestingly, because my brain will forget this if I don't say it now, when Yes Chevrolet bought 2 Bolts, they sold them each within 2 weeks. They're not going to get any more till next year. Well, they did get one, and in less than a week it was sold. So I got a call or a message from Leo, said they want to put a level 2 charger on the outside of their building for people to use when they're closed. And would we, the group, and I mentioned it to Larry, would we stop by sometime and maybe tell them where the best place would be, and then where to drill the hole through the wall and get to the electricity. And I think they're going to try to do most of the conduiting and wiring themselves, except for the hookup at each end. So Larry said he'd meet me there someday, and we'll just give them our opinion. It's their money, but they don't want to spend any more than they have to. And they were thinking, we'll put it out in the parking lot. And I said, well, you got a trench underneath 80 feet of concrete. That's tough. So I put it on the side of the wall where they can park next to it, but it's not right in the front of the showroom, and it's not blocking your service entrance bays. Okay, that's it.
Rick, just while you're on that subject, if we could go ahead and I've got an appointment on Tuesday, I think it is, in Tays Valley, so it wouldn't be hard to run on down there. maybe we can talk after this meeting and plan for a time to.
Yeah, and anyone else is welcome. It's not a private meeting, but Leo invited us. It's kind of cool that they want to make that connection.
Yeah, I think that's great, especially because we'll want to use that later to say, we've worked with dealers directly, like to help with different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So is their issue they can't keep their Chevy Bolts in stock? Is that they sell every one they bring in?
They sell it as fast as it gets in.
Well,
I had my daughter's car down there for warranty work on salesman, and he told me to get 3 or 4 in, I think.
Good.
All right.
A couple of weeks.
Well, we've got a couple other new folks we want to get to, and then we can probably switch over to some other discussion items. So also on my list, I've got Archie Locke. Archie, you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and where you're at?
Yeah, I'm actually up here in the Eastern Panhandle, live in Bunker Hill, south of Martinsburg.
Okay.
I actually graduated from Polka High School in '99, got an associate's degree from Marshall, and I've lived and worked all over the state just about, and put solar panels on the house in 2016. Got a charger in late 2017 and actually bought a used 2012 Leaf probably about 2 weeks after I got the charger. And it's lost a little bit, but it makes the 22-mile round trip to the office no problem. And it's going to do that. My wife actually works 6 miles away from the house. So once it doesn't do my trip, it'll do that trip. This is the plan.
Awesome.
And I've been lurking on the group for a while. Thought I'd join one of the meetings and see what I could do to help get people interested in this. I actually showed my Leaf to a friend of mine. He lives up in Falling Waters, and next thing I know, they have a Chevy Bolt. So it's catching on. And people cannot believe the torque and the acceleration of the electric car. And then you tell them how much it costs to run it, and they don't even believe that. But
yeah, and we've always been, that's kind of one of our things is like, we call it butts in seats. If you get a butt in a seat, I mean, people understand.
It's like you need a bumper sticker that says "Got torque" and just put it on the back. And, because people don't realize it's
Yeah, this is not a golf cart.
No, this is maximum torque at 1 RPM. So yeah. But
awesome.
my wife drives a Fusion hybrid. I tried to get her to get into a plug-in hybrid, but the trunk space just wasn't there yet. But the first time I can find a used electric car that does 300 miles of range for a decent price, we're going to be fully electric in the house.
Awesome. All right. Next on my list, I've got Taylor Mills.
Taylor, I believe you're muted.
All right, I've got myself unmuted there.
Yeah.
Good morning, guys. Glad to be part of the group here. I got into solar there back in December of 2019. I just got it in there right in time for the 30% tax credit. I did a ground mount system, and I think I said earlier I'm here in Ripley, West Virginia, just basically between Charleston and Parkersburg. A little bit out in the country, but pretty close to town. I do not have an EV, but I'm interested in getting one here soon. My solar installation, I did not opt for storage. I just have a grid-tied system, but I'm actually installing solar. I have a mini storage business, and I'm in the process of doing another 12K carport there, and I've actually got my dad finally talked into it, and we're doing a 9.6K system on his garage, and then there's a friend of mine that we're doing a 9.2K system on his house. So kind of getting into solar.
Yeah, single-handedly making Ripley solar.
But, mostly, the EVs really I have an interest in them, but I'm kind of watching the technology, kind of wondering when's a good time to jump in. But obviously, it's not a bad time. It sounds like you guys are having pretty good experiences with them. but just here to learn more about them, I guess.
All right, great.
So,
Taylor, this is Marty. I have a cousin lives in Ripley, Mike Blessing. He has a 10 or 12 kV
Yeah,
system on his roof.
I've heard of Mike Blessing. Somebody told me to contact in the early stages of the development of my system. Somebody told me about Mike. They actually gave me his number, but he never would answer. I don't know. I haven't talked to him, but yeah, there are about, I understand, in Jackson County, talking to my local electrical inspector, I think he said there's about 5 or 6 other installations within Jackson County right now.
who did your?
I did it myself. Yeah.
What wattage panels did you put in?
375 watt. I've got 32 of them.
Wow.
Wow.
I did a ground mount. The weather's kind of pretty wet right now, but I can step out here and show you real quick.
Yeah.
Did what inverter did you use? Solar Edge or?
I have 2 of the Sunny Boys.
Okay.
Here, I'll get the video turned around. Maybe.
Do they have the panel optimizers?
So I do not have optimizers. The shading doesn't really happen until about 7:30 at night, and it really just starts around 7:30. So I really
Okay.
didn't feel that it was necessary to deal with the optimizers and all that. And of course, being a ground mount, optimizers are not,
Right.
are not a necessary thing for the rapid shutdown. So this structure you're looking at here is what holds the 2 Sunny Boy 5.0s, and then each array actually operates independently, and I can actually adjust the tilt of them.
All right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Manually, not it's not the tracker or nothing like that, but
So I plan to put on ground mount when I build in Fayette County. I was wondering what kind of foundation do you have there for the mounts?
okay. Well, I sort of did a custom system. I'd be glad to show you more about it. But I used a 4-inch C channel with a 1/4-inch web, and I set those at a minimum of 3 foot. Some of the holes are a little deeper, just so that I could get the right elevation of the height of each one. But they're all set in concrete with. I used welded wire fencing, and put down in the hole with 2 sticks of rebar, actually driven. I used 5-foot pieces of rebar, 2 of them in each hole. I drove those 2 feet into the ground, even below the 3-foot hole, and then filled them up with concrete. And then above that, I used mass pole for the. You can see the end of the mass poles there, hanging out the end. But I attached the mass pole to the C channel with a stainless steel U-bolt, and then from there I actually used I used stainless steel saddle clamps, and then I was able to attach the strut on the saddle side of the exhaust clamp, and then that's what gives me the pivot on the mass pole.
Thank you.
Wow.
But
Sounds cool.
like I said, yeah, I could. I'll actually head outside now as long as my audio holds up with me. My service. I have a house with a metal roof, so it's sort of the service kind of comes and goes every now and then. But yeah, I'll walk out there and I'll be able to show you. That way, it'll make a lot more sense.
Do you change the angle twice a year, like with daylight savings time, or do you do it monthly? Or, I mean, it's a seasonal angle change. How often do you find yourself doing it? Just twice a year?
I've So I installed the system in December. I had a pretty steep angle. I had it adjusted for winter, basically. I've moved it once since then, and so here's this. This here was all existing, and then this is what I added on. So pretty minimal on the front of the house. You know, not a big change up there. Around here to the back. I figured out how to turn this camera around. Here we go. All right, so here is the framing. There are my two Sunny Boy 5.0s, and they're shielded from the sun. I actually have a layer of foam behind a sheet of metal to sort of protect them from the heat of the sun. And here are the this is 4-inch C channel in like I said, a minimum of 3 foot into the ground. These are the exhaust clamps, and so it just pivots on that exhaust clamp right there. Whereas these U-bolts here, which you can see, I've got them all greased up to reduce any corrosion.
Did you cut the top of the channels, the uprights, to level it? Is that?
I actually dug the holes to level it.
Did you?
I didn't want to. I had the C channel, West Virginia Steel. I ordered it from West Virginia Steel, and then they had it dipped and galvanized. And I did not.
You're breaking up on us, Taylor.
Yeah, I think you're getting a little maybe too far from the Wi-Fi.
You went back to mute, I think, too.
Okay. Well, if he makes it back, I mean, yeah, it looks interesting. I'll encourage him to do a video for the National Solar Tour and post that, going through some of these details.
Thank you.
Taylor, I don't know. Did you hear us? Look like you dropped out for a minute.
Yeah. I was able to hear you guys, but yeah, I must have got too far away from the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer his question, I just dug the hole. Well, first I ran a string line, and then I measured and I ordered the C channel in varying lengths because of my ground varies there. But I actually didn't have to cut the top of them because I didn't want a bunch of rust or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw an article recently that West Virginia Steel is one of the biggest providers of infrastructure for solar panels in the country.
Huh.
Really? That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah,
they
said they have over 100 employees working on that.
They probably didn't have my project in that list. I just called them up and ordered some metal, basically. But, yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about like commercial projects that they provide a lot of the steel for, like large scale commercial solar projects.
Really? Well, the carport that I'm doing at my mini storage, it is a 38 by 20 structure, and I'm actually sourcing it from a company called Sinclair Designs. He's out of Michigan. Yeah, if I had known that West Virginia Steel was doing something like that, which, you know, they don't advertise it, I guess, so I didn't know any better, but.
Okay, and Taylor, I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but are you familiar with the National Solar Tour that's coming up?
I did, yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know if you were participating or doing a video, but I was going to encourage you to do that.
Well, I am a member of the Solar United Neighbors. I just joined them there a few months back. I tried to get onto those webinars that they had, but each one I was busy. I couldn't get on them. I just had prior plans. So I'm really not sure on how to, how they.
I could send you a link on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've got, since you're on the list, I've got your email address. There's just a website. You just sign up and say, hey, yeah, I'd like to participate in the tour on this date, time, and I'll upload a video of your system and like a walkthrough like you were just doing. And
Right, yeah.
they'll post it.
Cool.
You have any idea, Taylor, cost-wise, if you had I have a place to put ground solar with plenty of, good site, but I also have a roof that's south-facing.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any idea of the cost comparison?
I would tell somebody that a ground mount, mine was a 12K system, and the cost difference between putting it on my roof, which it wouldn't have fit on my roof anyway, but if I were to put the same amount of panels on a racking system on a roof, the ground mount was about $1,500 more. The ground mount structure cost me $3,000. It was, give or take, I think $50. And I could put the same panels on roof racking for probably about $1,600. So it's right at about double the price.
And I think that varies somewhat also depending on exactly where the ground mount is located to your home, how much trenching has to be done,
Exactly.
There's some variables that'll be in that equation.
Yeah, you're gonna have to allow for your wiring. Obviously, every added foot of wire is gonna cost you, and then once you get so long, of course, you have to account for voltage drop, and then you're changing the size of your conductors. You're gonna be upsizing, which I upsized mine just out of just out of precaution. I upsized to my wiring diagram called for 10 THHN, and I bumped up to 8 just because the cost difference was like 5 cents a foot. So, I thought it was a pretty easy upgrade whenever you're spending upwards of $20,000.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're about halfway through our call here this morning, so I want to probably change gears a little bit, and we need to talk about the National Drive Electric Week that's coming up. I do want to talk to everybody about that. One of the things we had talked about previously was folks recording videos in their vehicles to use as something that we could post online ahead of Drive Electric Week. And then we are scheduled to have a couple-hour live session on October 3rd is the current plan. So I wanted to check with folks to see how we're doing on recording videos. I was hoping Scott Hamilton would be on. He was working on a Model 3 video, but worst case, I could do a Model 3 video with mine. And then Rick, how's it going on the Bolt video?
We haven't gotten anything done. As I said, my wife was refused to have somebody else. Well, she wasn't going to ride in the back seat with somebody. No. So I had the second idea to promote those places that provide chargers. So I contacted the manager through the secretary of the Hampton Inn that has 3 Tesla and 1 J charger in the back. And I thought even with masks on, I would just talk to him about why they did it and how it's working out. And then I would also show in my own garage with me just doing it how I charge my vehicle. But he never called me back. So that idea now I'm still if we do a video, about 3 minutes of it will be how I put in my own charger and EVSE on the wall and how I charge and time, how long it takes. And then maybe a part of a drive. My wife said she'd go along with me, but we haven't fit it into our schedules yet. It's been a crazy, hectic week for me. We started virtual at Marshall, and I'm getting 30 emails a day. And they all have to be answered. It takes me over 2 hours to answer all the emails of students that are lost and don't know what to do. So it's been a hectic week, but hopefully I do have a self-imposed goal of getting it done within the next week. And I'll let you know if we don't get it.
Okay. And speaking of bolts, John, and you know, you've got the video skills too. And being a new, fresh owner, and some of the questions and thoughts that you had before you purchased, and now that you've gotten the vehicle, after you've experienced it, I think you'd be a great candidate if you wanted to record a little video about your experience.
I'll get something together on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be awesome. And I think you also live a little more rural too. So I mean, I think it'd be a great perspective of living with, you know, an electric vehicle in a more rural area. You know, you're not in the city.
Well, going up and down our driveway is why I really hesitated to buy a two-wheel drive electric car, because, you know, we're all-wheel drive up here, Subaru and a Toyota truck. And so the Bolt was a gamble. First, Larry came up our driveway with his Tesla Model 3, though, and didn't have any trouble. So I gambled on it, and that Bolt's been doing great. It just cruises up and down, you know, spins a tiny bit at the bottom, but does really well.
Okay, awesome. All right, so that would cover the Bolt between Rick and John. If you guys put some stuff in, and Rick, sounds like you'll be skewing a little more towards charging, so that would be great. Scott was going to do a Model 3 video. I haven't seen an update from Scott. I may plan on doing something with mine, record a video. So what does that leave us? Leaf, I don't have my Leaf anymore, but so Archie, if you felt like it and you wanted to record a video of I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see the perspective of a first generation Leaf owner, and, you know, how the car has held up for you and its age, and what it's still being able to do. If you wanted to record a video.
Yeah, I've been looking for an excuse to buy a GoPro for flying, so this will work out nice. Honey, it's for alternative energy. It's fine, but no, I mean, I paid less than 10 for the car used, and like I said, it's almost paid for itself, because we went from a Chevy Cobalt to it, and just fuel costs alone have nearly, you know, it's going to be the first car I ever make money on. I'll say that, and that's what I tell people. I can see what I can do with video. When's the due date for the project?
Well, by the we need to have them up before the end of September, let's say. But it would probably be best if we could have them up by, say, mid-September. Give folks, you know, we can use it for publicizing the event and post the videos.
Okay. Let me see what I can do.
A couple weeks.
So
that would be great.
Whenever you buy an electric car, what exactly happens to your electric bill? Does it double, or what have you guys seen?
I didn't notice hardly any difference. 24 kilowatt hours at 9 cents a kilowatt hour, and I very rarely use more than, you know, 60-70% of the battery. So you're looking, it'd be 90 cents for 10 kilowatt hours. So I mean, $1.80 a day.
It all comes down to how much you drive locally.
Yeah.
So if you do a lot of local driving where you're charging at home, then you could rack up some decent electric charges. Most folks do not, because you're not driving that much locally. If you're putting a lot of miles on a vehicle, generally it's you're on a trip, and then if you're on a trip, you're not charging at home.
Yeah, and my house is electric heating and air. So in the summertime, I still see the $5 electric bills for a couple months. But then when the heating season comes in, you know, I can start seeing the $150, $200 electric bills, just because the heat pump doesn't keep up.
So when you're on the road, the charging is free. I've heard two different stories.
No. I mean, and it depends on the vehicle. It depends. The answer is depending on the vehicle. It could be free. Like some of the early Teslas had lifetime free supercharging, but that's a rarity. And none of the new vehicles, unless they're running a promotion, every now and then they'll do some promotion. But generally, yeah, you're paying on the road for charging. Unless it's like free level 2 charging. Sometimes you'll find that like at state parks. Yeah. They have free level 2 charging, but the high speed DC charging, typically, you know, you're definitely paying for that.
My wife and I made a trip to Baltimore recently. We made the entire trip for free because every place we went had level 2 for free. We found about 95% of level 2s are free, about 5% you pay for, and vice versa on the DC level 2 fast charge. Columbus Eastern Gateway gives it to you for free, but that's about the only place. So about 5% will give you fast charge free, 95% you pay for it. My wife and I have kept pretty accurate records of what we spend for everything since 2013. So we knew our electric bill went up $200 a year, and our gasoline bill went down $2,000 a year.
Wow.
In my case with solar, I mean, I produce way more than I can use, so I power everything: the house, all electric house, the EV, electric bikes, all electric lawn equipment, and I still pay $5 a month every month. So, and I've got a 6,000 kilowatt hour credit right now.
How many panels do you have?
I'm sitting on a 3,000 myself.
Or how big is your system?
I've got an 11.3 kilowatt system.
Okay, I've got a 6K inverter, but a 7.2 system, which it never clips anymore. It's old enough now; it doesn't do any clipping.
Yeah, mine can clip still some. I mean, because those panels, with they have positive tolerances, so they'll still clip a little bit on perfect solar days.
Nice.
All right, well, back to videos. Yeah, Archie, if you want to do a leaf video, that would be awesome. And mostly, I mean, you can do some stuff from outside the car, but I think we're probably I'm thinking maybe doing one in the car, maybe while driving, have my wife film, and just, we're walking through questions. What would people who don't own an EV, what are their questions? Generally, it's about, range and how long does it take to charge and what does it cost and maintenance and, the general kinds of things that folks are concerned with. Where do you charge? How much does it cost? What did it do to your electric bill? Those kinds of things you want to talk about in your video to give folks a heads up.
I'll work on like a day in a life video or something like that.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool.
All right. I will also follow up with the guy that I know that has the Kona. I haven't heard back from him. He did say he would do a video. He lives just right across the line in Pennsylvania, here in near the Eastern Panhandle. So I'll follow up with him, see if we can get that. He's been to all the Drive Electric Week events we've had here in Martinsburg, so he's generally very helpful.
What are you looking for, Robert? Maybe 5 minutes or?
Yeah, I would say try to keep it to 5-ish. So, if it 5 to 7 maybe at the most. Don't make it too long. It's folks won't stick around for the whole video. So try to hit the really high points as quickly as we can.
So I may ask my son to do a Chevy Volt.
Hey, that'd be great, Marty. Yeah, we should have a plug-in, something plug-in in there, plug-in hybrid.
I'll ask him maybe get my wife to ride with him and photograph it and get him to talk about how he likes driving for free.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
someone was asking about cost of charging. I should point out that superchargers, if you buy a Tesla, are basically twice as expensive as charging at home.
Yeah, at least in our area, they run about 25 cents a kilowatt hour.
If you go to the Waco, Texas supercharger, the Collins Street Bakery there will give you electricity for free. But that's a pretty unusual.
Yeah, that's an unusual setup. All right. Well, any other questions about videos? Any other thoughts or comments? All right. If not, we'll be planning for Drive Electric Week on October 3rd, doing a live Q&A session. So I'm imagining it'll be something using like this format for video, and then we'll invite folks to join. I mean, I don't know how much participation we're going to get, but at least we'll have the videos and we can put those out there, and we'll record the session on that Saturday and put it out there. Try to drum up some more interest for EVs and get the word out about WVEAA.
Have you guys seen the electric aircraft that are in development?
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 of them that I see articles about periodically.
Yeah, there's a Pipistrel, which is a Czech company, has just licensed through the European the EASA a 100% electric trainer with about an hour of flight time in it. And there's also the Sunflower Group, and that's what I'm really interested in, is getting that going.
Yeah, we had our Drive Electric Week event at the Martinsburg Airport last year, and I know some of the folks that work at the board on the airport authority, and I was talking to them about electric aircraft and when were they going to put in a charger so that if you could attract electric aircraft, how could they charge
Yeah.
there? That would be awesome.
I saw there's a little commuter outfit, I think, out of Seattle.
The Harbor Air.
They were converting
Yeah.
planes to all electric from gasoline driven.
Yep, they converted, I think it was a Beaver float plane, and they just do short, 15, 20-minute commutes across the bay. And that's a really interesting, because that motor can be STC'd into different airframes and a supplemental type certificate, where once they prove it's safe and has the range, these older Cessnas out here, you could take one, STC it, battery, motor, and away you go.
Wow.
Well, and we're seeing it in a lot of, beyond vehicles, transport, land transport. There's the ferries in Europe, those big ferries, and that's another great use case. Anytime you've got, short hops or, defined trips where you know exactly how long they take pretty much, and it's point A to point B, and you can have charging at either end, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so cool, because where I live right next to Sandstone Falls across the river. And we proposed to the Parkway Authority, they put a ferry in several years ago. Like there used to be a ferry there historically. And I referred them to this Oregon, where they have these ferries going across the river. But the Park Service out there said, "Oh, you don't want those. They're diesel. They're smelly. They're a mess." What a beautiful idea.
Yeah, Norway has done a lot with the fjords there and crossing with ferries, and and these aren't small ferries. These are large vehicle ferries.
Yeah, these are auto carriers, like 2-3 decks.
Yeah, we were talking something for 5 cars, maybe.
But yeah, something small would make a lot of sense in that situation, and all electric keeps it very clean.
Have you guys seen the website? You might have been posted on the EAA Facebook group. The electricitymap.org is, I believe, the site, and it has the areas broken down by interconnects. Like you can see the PJM interconnection, and you can see electricitymap.org, I believe, is the site. And it'll actually show you what each electrical system is producing and consuming across the U.S.
Oh, wow. Real time?
It's probably delayed 10 or 15 minutes, but it's probably as close to real time as they're going to let consumers see. Like click on the West Virginia is kind of in that light brown blob, right there, the PJM interconnection, and you can see. I think you're looking at. Are you looking at production or consumption there? I need to move.
It says electricity consumption.
Yeah, so you can see it's nuclear, coal, gas. Of course, gas is going to be big there, and it'll also give you the carbon intensity of the system at any point.
No, that is cool. No, I hadn't seen this.
But that's one of the sites to take a look at. If you click on, I think the one above the Great Lakes there in Canada, I think it's mostly hydro and nuclear. They count nuclear as clean. Well, it's all nuclear and hydro, but a lot of wind. And they're actually exporting to the Midwest and to New York and Quebec from Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing I try to follow is, and each year the Scientists Union produces a report about how much cleaner an electric vehicle is than a gas or diesel vehicle anywhere, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, that's the one thing about electric powered vehicles is like the fuel source is always getting cleaner, and that will never happen with combustion engine vehicles. Yeah,
no, it's I think once we see fleet managers embrace them, that's when we're going to see it take off. And I'm looking forward to when they have a viable commercial electric truck like a Chevy 1500 that fleets will take care of.
I'll say vans, delivery vans, trucks, even like the electric day semis where they do like deliveries from a warehouse or distribution center. any vehicle that's parked overnight at a depot that does a defined route is going to be great. Trash trucks, school buses, transit buses, any type of delivery service, pretty much, unless you're doing long haul driving, any of those services are ripe for electrification.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's an interesting story in Virginia. The Dominion Power is paying for electrification of school buses, and when they're not being used, they're still plugged in and they're using vehicle to grid for power backup. So they're actually, the Dominion's paying for the portion of the batteries they're projecting that they're going to be using. Basically the school buses get home right about the time peaks really start. School buses get back to the garage, so they plug them back in, and they will they'll be able to use their solar and nuclear power to charge those batteries during the day and at night, and then use that battery for peak shaving.
And then when in the summer, when their actual annual peak arrives, those buses aren't doing anything, so they're available all day long.
Yeah, I think each bus had something like 200 kilowatt hours of batteries in it.
Yeah, it's a great model. And kudos to Virginia and Dominion Power and the school system for doing that. I'd like to see more of that here.
When we were here, as we are in COVID, our school buses, even over the summer, were working just as hard because they're delivering lunches to all the people that can't come to school. We're still feeding them, so that the cafeterias are still making all the meals, and the school buses are delivering them out. When I have my bike ride along Route 2 along the Ohio River, there's several places where the school buses are dropping off the lunches for the kids, and dinners too. Sometimes their parents can't even provide that. So I'm not sure the school buses are that unbusy in the summertime. They may be just as busy.
Well, I mean, I know this summer is certainly an exception. I didn't generally think they were that used that much in the summer, but they could be. But as Marty said, generally I think they're back about the time, the evening peak is hitting, that kind of stuff. So it sounds like it'll still be a great deal for the power company.
Yeah, it flattens that duck curve.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, I wanted to talk about Indu and the video, so we've done that. Any other topics? I can provide an update real quick that based on the survey that we did of out-of-state electric vehicle drivers, for those who weren't aware of that, we did a survey and we got some responses from out-of-state owners, electric vehicle owners. We were trying to educate the state and others about where to locate chargers, high-speed DC chargers in West Virginia. And so the locations pretty much came back the way we expected, Beckley, Charleston, Morgantown being the top 3 locations because that's where the interstate intersections are in West Virginia, followed by places like Weston and Huntington and things like that. So anyway, we did this survey, we got those results. We have shared those with the Electrify America, trying to get in on their next phase of DC fast chargers that are rolling out because there are currently no DC fast chargers in West Virginia. So we're trying to get in on that. We encourage them to look at those cities, areas at the interstate intersections and make investments there. We've also shared that survey in a similar letter with the governor as a follow-up to a letter we sent earlier in the year to the governor, encouraging the state to use their Volkswagen settlement trust funds to also install high-speed DC chargers in those areas. So hopefully between the two and anyone else we can get interested, we can finally get some DC fast chargers that are not Tesla specific. The state's pretty well covered with Tesla superchargers, but non-brand specific DC fast chargers are a rare thing in West Virginia.
Robert, would you have time to touch on the economics of a business installing a DC fast charger, or that's maybe not exactly a gas station, but just or is there a resource you could maybe just? I'm just curious about it. Is it worth at least doing financially, or?
I mean, there's probably some resources out there, and Marty, you might have some things in mind. I mean, but just I know at a real general level, I would say I don't know that it would be cost effective for a business in West Virginia to install one. Just given the amount of, because you need a lot of traffic, you need a lot of people stopping at that thing and using it, because you're talking about a six-figure investment generally in a DC fast charger.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere this week where it's like 115,000 to get it charging vehicles from here's a patch of dirt to charging.
So
That might
generally,
be,
go ahead, Marty.
that's probably in the right ballpark. I think Tesla runs a little less than that because they own their own factory and building the superchargers, and they've got the engineering pretty well set now. I saw one quote where they had to provide information to a planning commission for a zoning permit, and for 8 superchargers, the construction cost was $170,000 for 8 chargers, and then on top of that, you had the capital costs of the equipment. You know, the actual stalls and the power conversion, changing AC to DC, those cabinets. So my guess is it's probably somewhere around $30,000 for Tesla, $30,000 to $40,000 per stall.
And I don't want to be discouraging, of course. If you're interested in it, we certainly see if we can help get more information. But it's just generally the cost of those chargers. It has to be someone they're part of a network of chargers where you participate in them, and they're for long haul driving for travelers going through a state, or it's government entities who have the funding to support something like that for tourism and bringing people to the area and justifying the charging. Otherwise, it's level 2 charging pretty much. And for a lot of things, level 2 is fine. I mean, if you're going anywhere where you're going to be for a few hours, like a state park or your hotel overnight, or restaurants and malls, level 2 charging and picking up some decent mileage at a level 2 charger is generally fine.
Yeah. I think to get to market penetration, a little bit more is we focus on those areas where you're going to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's where we put the level 2 chargers, like employee parking lots, malls, stuff like you just said. That's going to be the big thing, is getting those set up.
Well, for the new folks here, I don't know if you're aware of it, but we have a member in Parkersburg, Chip Pickering, who's has a engineering company, and he has been paying for the equipment to install level 2 chargers at any nonprofit government or private organization around the state. He's put them at several libraries around Parkersburg, a museum. He's also paid for the level 2 charger at the Greenbrier Observatory, and I mean the Green Bank Observatory in Pocahontas County. And he's given chargers to Fairmont State, and they have not yet installed them. It's been 6 months. COVID is their excuse this week. And he shipped to the town of Lewisburg in their Montwell Park, which is a block from downtown. They should have that installed in a week or two. So we've been doing our level best. If anybody knows of any nonprofit organization that would like to put in level 2, Chip will give you the equipment.
Now you still have to, to be clear, you do have to pay to install it and maintain it. But Chip will donate the actual equipment, which is still a great deal.
Yeah.
You see, I was going to present that to our fire department in the meeting 2 nights ago, but I chickened out. But I wonder about vandalism on those systems, if it's how that or some kid could come up and get shocked, you know, if it's just on the side of the building all night long.
I don't think anybody can get shocked because the EVSE has to talk to the car and make sure it's grounded and there's a stable. You can't cut through the wire with a, you know, unless there's a car parked in with a hacksaw and get a shock. But in the work that I've been looking at for my project on electrifying Marshall's fleet, first of all, I did call NLX, which makes the juice box. I said, why is your commercial charger twice as expensive as the home charger? I said, it's built that much. No, it's the same machine. It's the warranty. You know, your home charger has like a 90-day, and if you're buying it commercially, you're buying a 3 to 5 year warranty, and that's the cost of the warranty. So I'm sure the same thing is true with DC FC equipment. Also, and Marty, correct me if I'm wrong, a large part of that cost of installation is trenching if you have to, and the permitting. So the machine itself of that, like I said, $30,000 per, that may, not all of that is the machine. It's not 60 times as expensive as a level 2 EVSE, but so the numbers are really quite variable in terms of how much it costs. The other thing I want to mention is I too have gone many long distance trips, and I've stopped in Columbus where the DCFC is free, but you always eat at the restaurant because it takes you an hour to an hour and 15 minutes to get enough charge to move on. So the restaurants put their money together in to pay for the EVSE because it draws enough extra business that it's worth it to them when they divide it among 8 restaurants or something. And my question that I throw out is, as charging speeds get faster and faster, and you're going to be able to do 150 kilowatts or 200, and you can fill up in 15 minutes, now you don't have enough time to stop and eat. So it completely changes the dynamics of who's going to pay for it. And then, like you said, it has to be, the machine has to make money enough to pay for its depreciation and a return on investment for the installation, rather than the restaurant or the eateries, which are making the big money now, or the greater part of it. When that goes away, it changes our whole dynamic of who's going to pay for this.
Well, I think we're already seeing that on the Tesla side. I mean, with the charging speeds of Teslas and the superchargers, I mean, like when I stop, you know, I'm there 20 minutes max. Well, maybe more than that, 25 minutes. But yeah, you're not going to sit down and have a big meal. By the time you go to the restroom and maybe pick up a cup of coffee, you might grab a cup of coffee and a biscuit or something at the Sheets. But yeah, you're not sitting down for an expensive meal. So yeah, it will change the dynamics of the pricing once you can charge so quickly. You know, what businesses will be willing to foot the bill for that. Now, no, convenience stores, I mean, they already have that model. You know, Sheets and the other convenience stores, that's the model they already have with fueling for gasoline-powered vehicles. So, you know, that kind of works for them.
Well, I guess I should point out that Rick Walker actually paid for 2 EVSEs at Marshall, and that's the only ones that Marshall has, the ones that Rick paid for. He paid for the equipment, and Marshall paid for the installation.
Yeah, a funny, not very funny sidelight of that was I estimated what the installation costs were going to be, and it was about $1,000, $1,200, maybe $1,500. So I bought the EVSE. They're sitting in a box, and they get the bill from the electric company, or they get the bid, $9,900. I said, man, this is crazy. You got to go get another bid. And they said, we can't. If it's under 10,000, we're locked in to using that particular electric outfit. So they put in 9,000, and that's why it was $9,900. They just got underneath that 10,000, and so we had to use them. So you have to make sure that people, if they have a contract with, if we had the project above 10,000, we could have bid around. But since it was a $1,000 project, and so they gave us a bid for $9,900, and we had to accept it. It was just a ripoff. I think that kind of business ethics is just deplorable.
The only reason they left that $99 on the table is because they knew they'd get in trouble for it then. It's, oh, no, that's not the bid limit at all.
Yeah.
I'm no fan of electric companies anymore, and every day I get a little bit less a fan of them. So,
I have a question for Marty. I was talking to one of my students yesterday, and she has her car on campus. Now, admittedly, it's COVID, but she drives it she volunteers at the hospital. So every other day, she drives about 7 miles there and 7 miles back, and otherwise, she's not driving it much. So I was thinking, well, for students that are like that, level 1 is perfectly fine. You lock it to your car, you plug into a 110-volt outlet. So my thinking is, we'll put some of these in the student garages. We'll put maybe a bank of 6 or 8 with the chance to expand. So I got on the internet and I looked around for places that sell like a parking meter where you put in your 4 quarters and turn it, and that makes the electrical outlet hot. I could not find one company in the United States that makes that. I found a company in Arkansas who gave me the recommendation to call Trumbull Recreation. They make coin-operated shower stalls for the state parks and campgrounds, and they said they might have one that instead of just opening up a gate for water, would actually just open up an outlet for electricity. But Marty, you had mentioned that there were things like that, and I remember in my youth, 50 years ago, hearing about Alaska, where all the parking meters had an electric plug, and because you had to plug in your oil heater. Now that wasn't, you didn't pay it with part of the meter, it was just hot all the time. But Marty, are you aware of any place at all that makes that a device, a coin, we don't call it a parking meter, but a coin operated electrical outlet?
Gee whiz, how about car washes? Car washes have one that turns a heater and that's a relay that turns on your water and your pump and your heater for hot water. Maybe you could talk to one of those guys or something.
The device, because they didn't make that device themselves; they bought it from somewhere.
Right. I mean, someone doing the car wash, they probably have a vendor that, if you find the supplier of car wash equipment, they might be able to help you.
Yeah, the only one.
But it ought to be a simple relay. You put a quarter in and it closes a relay.
Yeah,
that's really all you need.
But I mean, I think what Marty had talked about previously, though, I mean, was like municipalities putting up a parking meter, and basically you had to pay the meter or you were ticketed.
Yeah, that's all you really need.
So that was the stick, not came through the enforcement of a ticket, not that you were actually connecting the meter to enabling the electric outlet.
Yeah, that's all you really need. A couple of the places that Chip has put in, they put a parking meter in front of the plug, and if you're parked there, you're supposed to put a quarter in the thing, and a quarter, they probably are 25 cents for 2 hours or something.
That's pretty expensive.
Change the parameters on those parking meters. You don't need to make it a switch. That really drives up the cost. Just you can get a used parking meter for $50 nowadays. So.
If as long as like campus security would patrol, which would be not really, if you're going to put up electric vehicle parking and those outlets, they should be patrolling and make sure they're not being like used by ICE vehicles anyway. And then put up signs and then ticket people who park there when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I see. You're marking the space as EV charging only. You're leaving the outlet, the 110 outlet, hot all the time. A 15 amp circuit for each one, 1.44 kilowatt. But then you're charging them a quarter an hour to park there, which that's an awful lot because that electricity that you're only going to get is about 11 or 15 cents worth. But you can make it dimes, yeah.
That's a fair markup.
I don't think that's bad.
How much more would we have to spend for campus security people to be roaming and looking at that on an hourly basis?
But they have parking meters and parking spots that are restricted that they're monitoring now, right?
No, we don't. Ours are iced all the time. and they don't have authority to either ticket them for parking there if they're gasoline or to have them towed. So I check it there once a week, and it's almost never open to be, so they're just sitting there not being used. We don't know how many people came by and said, I got iced, because they don't see that. People don't put it on plug share.
Well, that actually sounds like the first priority is to get Marshall on board with, if we're going to make these resources available, whether it's a handicap spot that you made available to a handicapped person or an EV spot that we made accessible to an EV, and you are already patrolling handicapped and restricted parking and loading docks and blah, 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 your folks should be patrolling these and ticketing as well. And heck, look at it as a revenue source. I mean, ticket these people.
Very different, though, because there's a law against parking in the handicap. Marshall did not make that law. That's a federal law.
Well, that's
law against parking in an electric vehicle parking spot, not in West Virginia.
Well, but I mean, if Marshall controls the property, they control the rules around that property. I mean, I think that they can make their own rules. I mean, if they want to say that this loading zone we declare this parking area as a loading zone and you can't park here, then they control that. They make that decision and they decide whether to ticket or not.
Yeah, I think they're backed up, though, by, I'm not sure that the person just doesn't pay that ticket, what authority they have to go and
well, yeah, I mean, it may not be, it would be Marshall's own ticketing. I mean, yeah, they're not going to probably be connected to the DMV or, state police or something. But
You know what their authority is? No, you don't pay your fines, you don't get your diploma. My son ran into that problem.
that's only for students.
He had to pay
We're
all
talking
his
about
parking fines
non-students.
before he get his diploma.
Yeah, you're right. That's a great carrot whip for the students. They don't get their credit for that semester. But we have people that work in our bookstore from Ohio, and they constantly never ever pay. They're not in the electric space, but they don't ever pay to park in that lot next to the bookstore, and there's nothing they can do about it. They give them a ticket every single day, and they just throw it on the floor. But because you're in Ohio, there's nothing they can do about it.
yeah, I mean, there's going to be situations like that, which is, they're already ticketing somebody, but, then the EV spot is no different than that situation. At least you've got some deterrent, whether for some people, and if there's a sign that says you'll be ticketed, that would deter some people.
Yeah, true. We need better signage.
Okay, well, we're a little after 10, guys. I don't want to keep us too long, but anything else we want to chat about before we wrap up today?
So if we get some videos together, we want to email them, link them to you somehow.
Yeah, if you can put them somewhere where I can get them. If you don't have a place where you can store them online, let me know, and I can give you a spot like on Google Drive to upload a video. Actually, that might just be easier for everyone. I'll create a spot where we can upload videos, and I'll send the link out. And if you want to create a video and upload it to that Google Drive link that I send out, then I can pull it over and post it on our YouTube page. Ultimately, that's where we're going to post these things. We do have a YouTube page for WVEAA, so I want to post all the videos out there to help drive traffic to our YouTube page and our website. So I'll send out a link to an open Google Drive location where you can upload a video.
And on Tuesday, the 8th of September, I'm giving a Tuesday talk to a group of lifelong learners and others. And it's going to be a Zoom talk, and I have a link for that. It's very basic, and I think everybody here probably knows enough about it, but it's kind of basically EV 101. It's about a 50-minute talk about the history and the current status and about the 3 different levels of charging. Anybody
can you record that?
They do, but I don't know. It's not mine. I'm the guest speaker.
Oh, you're the guest speaker. Okay.
Give that out, but I have been given the authority, I think because of COVID, to give the link, the Zoom link out to people, and they can just come and watch it. But you're right, they would have to watch it Tuesday between 10:30 and noon. And it will be recorded, but I'm not sure that that'll be given to our lurkers, because these people in the group did pay some money to be in the lifelong, I think it's $10 for the year, but they've waived that for COVID. So Elizabeth said, sure, if you want to invite friends and family, Eric will give you the link. And so I have the link now that they're going to use on that day, but I think you have to watch it at that time.
Well, it'd be nice if they would record it. You know, I mean, we don't have to post it, but if they would post it somewhere after the fact as a, you know, community service kind of thing and provide a link.
I can ask Elizabeth about that.
Hey, Rick, I would be interested in joining that Zoom there. I actually on Tuesdays I'm off from work.
I say, Rick, why don't you send that out to the whole group, just in case, you know, folks, if it's open to anyone to join, send the link out to the whole WVEA list group, and then folks that are able to join can join.
Yeah. So I just pick that email address and send it to that, and it comes back to me because I'm in the group, but it also goes out to everybody.
Yeah, the WVEA at googlegroups.com.
Right, at googlegroups.com. Okay, will do.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
I've got to go. My grandson showed up. Got to go play with him.
Okay.
All right.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. It's a good meeting.
Hey, Archie, if you want us to hang on for just a second.
Yep. Oh, yeah.